Um, so this week, I'd like to do a little bit more with breathing. We did a bunch last week, but I think I've heard from some folks that, you know, the sort of the collective anxiety that we're feeling, that we're all feeling right now. You know, we don't feel like we have a whole lot of control over many things in our lives, and breathing is the one thing we can control. So if I want to calm down, if I want to kind of bring my resting level of stress down, I have lots of options with the breath, with controlling my breath to do that, because we don't have control over anything outside of ourselves. So give me a moment. I'm going to transition. For those who weren't here last week, I'm still in my cast. I hope next week not to be in my cast. So I'll be able to move around a little bit better. But I'm going to try and gracefully transition back to my chair. So give me just a second. All right. Here we are. Okay, so hopefully you all are seated in a chair that that's comfortable for you, so that when you're sitting, you've got like a nice 90-degree angle. I'll turn sideways so you can see what I mean. Or maybe I won't, actually. I'll have to turn my whole chair. So the chair you're sitting on, you want to be able to, like when you look at yourself, that you've got about 90 degrees here at your hip and about 90 degrees here. So you don't want to get too high, and you also don't want to be too low in a sofa. If you have a chair with arms, you might consider switching to one without arms. That'll be a little bit easier for our side-to-side movement. So one of the nice benefits to doing our yoga practice virtually, being in your own home, you can extend your arms and not hit another person unless you've got somebody else in the room with you. So why don't we all just do that, just to kind of stretch out a little bit. So we'll reach the fingers on the right hand, reach the fingers on the left hand. And let's just start by twirling the arms. So we're just going to turn the palms up and then back toward the back of your space. And then we're going to twirl forward and come around. So you kind of round your shoulders. I don't know if you all can see this. My shoulders are rounding up when I bring my palms down and turn. And then I'm opening up through the chest when I turn the arms back. So this is just to get a little bit of space first in the arms, underneath the arms. And then the next time your palms are up, let's hold here, and we're going to bring the arms way up overhead. Reach up overhead and lift up through your right hand, lift up through your left. I realize that I'm cut off here on your screen, but imagine I'm reaching way, way up and I'm touching the ceiling there, and I want you to try and do the same. And if you're working with a shoulder that doesn't allow you this kind of movement, if your best movement is here, then that's absolutely fine as well. So just do the best you can. I'm going to ask you to reach up and lengthen your rib cage. Pull your ribs right up off your belly, right? So if you can feel your rib cage, lift it up off your belly a little bit. And then we're going to slowly relax that and let the arms come all the way down. Okay, let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down just a couple of times. Excellent. And then let's just relax. So if it's comfortable for you right now to close your eyes, we're going to do a little bit of breathing work here. So I find that closing my eyes or just kind of dropping my gaze down at the floor helps bring my focus and my concentration to my breath. So with your eyes closed, see if you can gently breathe in and out through your nose. Now it's starting to get into peak pollen season. So the breathing might be a little bit difficult for some folks. You might be experiencing a little bit of stuffiness in the morning, scratchiness, anything like that. So if you can breathe in and out through your nose, what you're doing is you're allowing all the little hairs in your nose to filter out all those pollens and all those little particles in the air that can make us uncomfortable. It also slows your breathing down. And it brings the air to just the right temperature for the lungs. So if it's a little cool out, when you breathe in through your nose, you're warming the air before it gets into your lungs, and that makes the oxygen a little bit more available to your lungs and to your blood. And if it's a little warm, it actually will cool it a little bit as you're breathing in and out. So Again, the nose is sort of like a good regulator for the temperature of the breath. So just notice if your breath is fast or slow, if it's shallow or deep. Notice if you're holding tension in your shoulders, your neck, your arms. See if you can let that tension go with every breath in and out. Notice if your jaw is tight. If the bottom teeth and the top teeth, if they're stuck together, that's a good indication that your jaw is a little tight. So bring a little space between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. So your mouth is relaxed, your jaw is relaxed. And as you breathe in and out, I'm just going to ask you to direct your awareness to your belly. Notice if your belly is moving in and out. So as you inhale, your belly should move out away from you. It's like a balloon that's being blown up. And as you exhale, your belly should move back toward your spine. It's like letting the air out of that balloon. So breathing in, the belly expands. Breathing out, the belly gently contracts. Continuing to breathe deeply in and out, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention into your ribs. So a little bit higher than your belly, come up into your ribs. And once again, see if you can feel on your inhalations that your rib cage expands. And on your exhalations, your rib cage gently contracts. Breathing in, feel the expansion in your belly and your rib cage. Breathing out, feel the contraction in your belly and your rib cage. And as you continue to breathe deeply in and out, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to your shoulder tops. As you inhale, can you feel your shoulder tops gently rising? And as you exhale, feel your shoulder tops gently relaxing. So with every breath in, notice your belly and your rib cage expanding and your shoulder tops rising. And with every breath out, feel your belly and your rib cage contracting and your shoulder tops gently relaxing. And it might take a few cycles to lengthen the breath enough that you can feel all three parts simultaneously: your belly, your rib cage, and your shoulder tops. As you continue to breathe deeply in and out, feeling your belly, your rib cage, and your shoulder tops responding to each inhale and each exhale, I'm going to ask you to now add a count to your breath. So you can do this counting in your head. As you breathe in, see if you can do it to a very slow count of 4. And as you breathe out, same thing, very slow count of 4. And again, we're going to do this for several cycles because it sometimes takes more than once or twice to coordinate this feeling from the belly, the rib cage, and the shoulder tops, and add the counting. It might feel like you're rushing the exhalation a little bit or rushing the inhalation a little bit. So let's just take our time, breathing in slowly to a count of 4, feeling the belly, the rib cage, and the shoulders. Breathing out to a slow count of 4, again, feeling the belly, the rib cage, and the shoulders. And if you're having any difficulty with the breathing in and out through your nose, see if you can breathe in through your nose and perhaps out through pursed lips, like you're slowly blowing out a candle. As you're breathing in and out to this slow count of 4, and you're feeling your belly and your rib cage and the tops of your shoulders responding to those inhalations and exhalations, notice what's happening in your mind. Notice if your mind is getting a little more quiet, a little more relaxed. And investigate if there's any tension in other parts of your body. So maybe your hands are tight, or maybe your feet or your legs are tight. As you breathe in and out, letting the belly and the rib cage and the shoulders respond to the breath, see if you can consciously release tension and relax those areas in your body that are just feeling a little bit tight this morning. And after your next inhalation, see if you can make it a really big inhalation. I'm just going to ask you to open your mouth and let that air out with a sigh. Go back to your natural breath, whatever is natural for you, whatever is normal for you. And let your eyes open. If your eyes have been closed, you're going to let your eyes drift open. Good. And so as we begin to move into the movement part of our practice, I'm just going to turn you onto a big screen here. So as we get into the movement part of your practice, work with whatever limitations or restrictions you might have this morning. If you've got something going on in your shoulder, your hip, your knee, your ankle, whatever's going on, just do the best you can. And I'm going to as well. So I'm going to be doing a bit of modifying here on my injured leg. And I'm just going to ask you to do the best you can. So once again, pressing down into your sitting bones, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Let's start this morning with some movement for the feet. And back up a little bit. So if you can take your right leg and extend it, have your heel on the floor. So this is why having that 90-degree position on your chair is really important. And you want to be right up to the front edge of your chair. So with your heel on the floor, we're just going to start with some movement for the toes. So let's squeeze and extend the toes. And as you're squeezing and extending toes, just notice how that movement isn't happening just in your foot. It's actually happening up in your leg too. Maybe you can feel some of the muscles up here in your shin or in your calf starting to engage a little bit as you do this. And you know, if you've got issues with your knee or your hip, most of the time we can always do some things with our toes here. And then let's start to point and flex the foot. So that's going to mean lifting the heel up off the floor and then tapping the heel back down on the floor. And again, doing the best you can. So if that doesn't work for you, you can have your heel on the floor and just point and flex, doing it that way. So we're breathing in and breathing out, letting the air fill the lungs, feeling that expansion in your belly, your rib cage, feeling your collarbones, that area up here in the top part of your shoulders kind of working a little bit. And then we're going to take that and start to circle around at the ankle. Now, as you're circling around at the ankle, notice any noise in there. And at some point, we're going to reverse the direction of those circles, breathing in, breathing out, just getting a nice little rotation here in the ankle. The ankle doesn't get a lot of this kind of movement on its own, because that would not be good for walking around. So let's bring the heel back down to the floor. We're going to keep the toes lifted right up toward the ceiling. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the leg in and out. So your rotation, you want it primarily to happen up here close to the, up into the hip. So if you take your right hand, where your thumb and your index finger kind of form a little saddle there, and just place that on the crease of your leg where your hip and your leg meet. Press down a little bit in there, not too hard, but just enough that you can start to feel that rotation. So you're feeling the upper part of your leg, the bone up here and all the muscles and everything up here are actually rotating in and out. Good. And then let's bring that foot straight up. Okay. Now this is going to be tricky. I'm going to have to modify here, but what we're going to do is we're going to be bending and extending this knee. I'm going to demonstrate here on this leg so that you can see what I mean, and then I will do my best on my own leg here. So as you inhale and exhale, you're just going to bend and extend the knee, right? So you're bringing the heel back as far as you can underneath your chair, or if your chair is kind of in the way, just do the best you can and then extend. So I'm going to go over here to this leg, and I have some mobility here. And this is actually one of my exercises that I have to do for rehab. It's not pleasant. Anybody who's had a knee replacement, and I think there are a lot of you out there, you know that these exercises are kind of hard to do, but it's super important. The improvement that you see when you continue to do this every day is so important to being able to get back to your normal activities. So just a couple more of these. My leg is getting a little bit tired here, so I'm going to assist it by just holding onto the back of the leg a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. How about one more time? And when we extend, let's see if we can hold that. This is a really tough one, you guys. So we're going to hold this for just 2 more breaths if we can. And those breaths go all the way from your belly to your rib cage and up to your shoulders. And then let's just kind of bend that knee a little bit and bring that leg down. If you'd like, you can give that leg a little bit of a massage, kind of up here. These muscles in the top of your thigh and the front of your thigh, these are your quadriceps muscles. So do what you can here to give them a little bit of love. They do an awful lot of work. Good. Okay. And then we're just going to kind of switch sides a little bit here. So we're going to let that right side rest. We're going to extend the left leg. So we've got that heel on the floor, and we're going to start to squeeze those toes and extend them. And again, returning to the breath, returning to the flow of your breath. See if you can regulate that a little bit. Feel it moving into your belly, to your rib cage, and coming all the way up to your shoulder tops, to your collarbones. Notice if the toes on this foot work a little differently than the toes on the other foot. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to transition from working just the toes to working the whole foot. So we're flexing and extending at the ankle. Now, whatever kind of sensation you might have had in your lower leg from squeezing and releasing the toes, you should get more sensation now in that lower leg and even into your upper leg as we point and flex the foot. Once again, this is a really good thing to do for the ankle, because it does not get this kind of movement on a regular basis because you're bearing weight on it, and that would be an unstable way to move your ankle if you're bearing weight. So let's start to circle that around. Oh, I just got a nice good pop there. Hopefully some of you are getting a little decompression in your ankle joint too. So just breathe in, breathe out, go nice and slow and smooth, and reverse direction. And if at any time your leg gets tired, you can always put your heel back on the floor and do your circles that way. Just a couple more. And then we're going to bring that heel back down to the floor. Keep your leg extended and the knee straight for now. And we're going to rotate the whole leg in and out. So it's like a big windshield wiper here. And again, now on this side, if you take your, where your thumb and your index finger come together, that's kind of the saddle. You're going to put that right in that hip crease And see if you can just feel, if you give a little bit of pressure, again, not too much, you're not in there trying to jam your hand in there, but just enough that you can feel all kinds of things moving there. Those are tendons in there, there's bone in there, there's muscle, there's fascia, there's all kinds of really cool stuff up in that part of your body. And notice if it's smooth, if those movements feel smooth underneath your hand, or if they're a little bit shaky. Sometimes they can have like a little jerky quality to them if your muscles are kind of tight there. And then we're going to bring the legs so the foot is straight up again, right? So nice and straight up. And we're going to do the knee work on this side as well. So press into your sitting bones, make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. So sometimes we tend to slouch a little bit when the leg is extended. So if you can press down and really kind of pull up, we're just going to bend and extend that knee. Breathing in and breathing out as you're bending and extending. Good. And some of you might notice that you have greater range of movement on this side than you did on the other, or maybe you had greater range of movement on the other side. So I notice a big difference on this side for myself. Good. Let's just do a couple more. Breathing in, breathing out. And now this last one, we're going to extend that leg and hold it up. Let's see if we can hold here for a count of 3. 3 breaths, right? So 3 long breaths, breathing in deeply, filling your belly, your rib cage, all the way up to your shoulders. Breathing out, the shoulders, the rib cage, the belly. That's 2 breaths. Let's see if we can hold just for 1 more. This is kind of challenging because we're really working these leg muscles up here. And slowly release that leg, bring the foot down. Let's see if we can give a little massage now to the muscles here in this part, right? So again, quadriceps muscles. These are the muscles right up here in the front of your thigh come from your hips. Some come from your hips, some come from your thigh, and they go down below your knee. But these are the muscles that keep you moving up and down the stairs and getting in and out of the car and off the chair and all the things that we need to do to stay really mobile and active. So super important to get these muscles strong if they're weak and to get them flexible if they're tight. And our practice can do all of those things. Okay, so we're going to move on from here. So if you want to sit comfortably, whatever that is like, again, I like this 90-degree angle. So from the hip to the knee, from the knee to the ankle, that's a nice comfortable way for your muscles to kind of relax while we're focusing on other things. So let's move up to the hands now. We're just going to squeeze and extend the fingers, just like we did the toes, right? So you've got a little bit more range of movement here in your fingers than in your toes. Your fingers are longer, generally. All right. Let's do a couple more of these. Notice your breath. Notice if you're kind of holding your breath a little bit, or if the breath has gotten a little bit shallow as we move into these things. And then let's just extend the fingers and spread them really wide. So make your hands as big as they can be and see if you can hold them as big as they can be and start to circle your thumbs. And breathe in and out. Now notice, once again, if your breath changes, right? So we're doing something different here, something that you don't do on a regular basis maybe. Certainly not part of my everyday life unless I'm doing it on purpose. It never happens by accident. And then we're going to extend the thumb and we're just going to take those first fingers, right? The pointer fingers, and we're going to rotate them around. See if you can get a little bit of movement there. And then extend those. Let's see if we can move just the middle fingers. That's a little bit harder. Your middle finger and your ring finger are connected by a little tendon right in between them. That makes it kind of tough to move one without moving the other. So you might look at your fingers and go, oh yeah, my ring finger is dancing around with my middle finger. And then let's extend all of those and now see if you can move just your ring finger. That has a little easier time maybe, but still connected to that middle finger. Breathe in, breathe out, and then we're going to go to the little finger. So extend everything and then just do those little fingers. Great, and then spread everything really wide. So spread it really, really wide. Okay, and then relax that slowly, 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 relaxing your hands and your fingers. And we're going to make a light fist And then as you make that light fist, see if you can make it tighter and tighter and tighter, and squeeze your hands as hard as you can without creating any pain. So if you've got a joint in there that is not happy with this, don't squeeze hard, just squeeze to the best of your ability. And then what we're going to do is relax that very, very slowly. So really slowly relax that tension in the hands, and then let the hands just begin to creep open again. So none of these movements are fast. These are really slow. So your fingers are moving in slow motion, extending. And when they get extended, see if you can really make them wide so your hands are as big as they can possibly be. And we're going to do this a few times, but now I'm going to ask you to focus on your breath as you're doing this. So breathing in and breathing out slowly, your belly, your rib cage, and your shoulders. And then we're going to relax the tension in the hands. Slowly relax, relax. Let the fingers get a little bit more relaxed till they start to curl forward a bit. And you're slowly making a very light fist as you're breathing deeply in and out. As you get into your fist, squeeze your fist as hard as is comfortable for you. So if you've got, again, if you've got something going on in your hand that doesn't feel comfortable to squeeze hard, you can just do a little bit less. Breathing in, breathing out. And then we're going to relax that squeezed fist. And slowly let the hands just relax a little bit. Don't open them too quickly. We're going to slowly let them unfold. So it's almost like watching the flowers unfold out there. It's when the sun gets on them, right? Poor flowers, they've been covered with snow in the past couple of days, and then sun, so they don't know what the heck's going on. Expand your hands, breathing in, breathing out. Stretch them really, really wide. I'm just going to go through this one more time, and then relax your fingers. Let your hands and arms relax a little bit. If it's too much to have your arms way up, you can bring them down by your sides a little bit. Let your fingers relax, and then they start to curl forward a bit. As your fingers curl forward a bit, we're starting to make a light fist. As we make a light fist, we're breathing in and breathing out, and then we're going to squeeze the fists. So squeeze those fists. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax the fists so you're not squeezing quite so hard, but you're still in a light fist. And then we're going to slowly open up those fingers, again, like a flower kind of opening up in the sun. Breathing in, breathing out. Expand the hands, expand through the fingers. And then just relax your hands. Let your hands find their way back to your lap. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Take a few breaths in and out. Notice your hands. Notice your arms, your shoulders, your chest and back. Notice your neck, your jaw. Breathe deeply into your belly and your rib cage and all the way up into your shoulders. And then let's take a breath in together and let it out with a sigh. Okay, now take your arms and bring them out to the sides. So we're sitting with the arms stretched out and your palms are facing up. Now try not to have your arms way up here. You want to have your arms kind of, maybe your hands are slightly below your shoulders as opposed to having your hands above your shoulders. And reach out through your right fingers and your left fingers as if you could touch the wall on either side of the room that you're in. And we're going to keep those upper arms nice and strong. And we're going to bend the elbows and tap the shoulder tops. And breathe in and out as you bend and extend. Now make sure your arms don't come down like this, right? So we want to keep them up. So we're really using those muscles. Breathing in, breathing out. Excellent. And now the next time that you tap your shoulders, we're going to go up overhead. So we're going to mix this up a little bit. So breathing in and out, we're going to go up overhead. We're going to do this a few times, right? So up and down, and see if you can keep the upper arms at about shoulder height. So in other words, you don't want them way down here. You want to keep them going up and down. Great. Couple more, and then we're going to add those two movements together. Great. And the next time that your hands are on your shoulders, we're going to transition. We're going to blend these two movements. So breathing in, we're expanding out to the sides. Breathing out and up. And it doesn't matter when you inhale and when you exhale, as long as your breath is smooth and even. So if you find that you're rushing your breath, you're trying to inhale as you extend your arms and exhale as you bend them, don't worry about that. Take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. It's much better to go slowly and to breathe consciously than it is to go fast and work in momentum. Let's face it, most of our lives we are operating in momentum. So this is an opportunity to let go of that momentum. So just one more time, up and down. Great. And we're going to hold the arms out here and then turn the palms away. Press out through the heels of your hands. Lengthen your arms a little bit more. Notice that changes things a lot. I can feel it up here in my upper arms. I can feel it in my lower arms down by my wrists. And then we're going to relax the arms and let them come all the way down. Let them hang down by your sides and give them a little shake. So we're kind of shaking things out from the shoulder all the way down. And draw your shoulders together, up, back, and down. A little bit of a circle here. Great. A little bit of noise in my shoulders today. I don't know about you, but that is kind of normal for me. I'm a little bit noisy in the shoulders in general. So let's let the left hand rest on the lap, and we're going to take the right arm, we're going to bring it out to the side, and we're going to keep that arm extended, like you're saying stop, right? So you've got that little movement there. And now as you breathe in and out, we're going to bend the elbow and make like a little swan neck with your hand as you bring the back of your wrist toward your shoulder. So breathing in and out, we're just extending and saying stop, and then making that little swan neck. So just a couple more of these. This is a great way to kind of work the bands of fascia in your arm that get kind of stiff and twisted when you, especially when you're not moving through your whole range of motion. That can happen a bit. Great. Okay, and the next time that you have your arm extended in that stop position, we're going to hold here. Yeah. And as you next breathe in, bring your arm way up overhead, as high up as it'll go. Keep it extended. Bend your elbow, and then see if you can place your hand, the palm of your hand, on your right cheek. Keep your elbow lifted. And this can be a little tricky in the elbow and the shoulder, right? So let's release that. Bring the arm all the way up. Sweep it out to the side. Keep it nice and long and come all the way down. We're going to do the same thing. So breathe in, extend that arm like you're saying stop. Come all the way up, lengthen through that side of your body, bend your elbow, place the palm of your hand on your cheek, lift that elbow a little bit higher, breathe in, breathe out. Come all the way up, out to the side, and all the way down. Great. One more time, we're gonna go out to the side, come all the way up overhead, lengthen through your body, bend your elbow, place the palm of your hand on the side of your face, and then extend and come all the way up and down. Good. Let's shake out that arm a little bit, and then let both arms hang down by your sides. And notice if your right arm feels longer than your left arm. It's kind of a cool little trick, right? So we've worked a lot of the connective tissue and the muscles and the tendons and all of that good stuff from the shoulder all the way down to the fingers. So we actually do have a little bit more length. Now, granted, it's a length that you can't see necessarily with the naked eye, but your brain is trying to recalibrate all of this. So the brain is saying, wow, that's a whole lot longer than the other side there. So let's let that right hand rest on the right leg a little bit. And we're going to take the left arm out to the side. And again, it's like you're saying stop. So you've got your hand out to the side. For you football fans, this is the stiff arm that the guys give when they're trying to get that ball down the field and not get tackled. So we're kind of getting the arm out here. Now notice if this shoulder top is really tight, you want to kind of let that go a little bit. And we're going to bring that arm all the way up. And this can be a little uncomfortable. We're going to bend the elbow and see if you can place your palm of your hand on the side of your face. And then come all the way up. Let's come back to that position here because I forgot to do the little swan neck. So we're going to start this over again. So with your next exhalation, we're just going to bend that elbow and bring the back of your wrist toward your shoulder. So the swan neck movement, breathing in, breathing out, this just sort of prepares your elbow and your wrist to do that other movement a little bit easier. So it's not wrong if you do the other movement first, but I just find it's easier to kind of get the wrist and the elbow a little bit oiled up before I ask it to do something a little more complex. So we're just breathing in, breathing out. Notice if this arm, hand, or shoulder, wrist, elbow feel any different than the other side. Okay, and now let's extend out like we're saying stop on this side, and now let's bring that arm way up overhead. We're going to bend the elbow and place the palm on the side of your cheek. I don't know about you, but it feels different to me already, just having done that little bit extra stretch. We're going to bring that arm all the way down and all the way up. So we're going to do this just a few times, nice and slow and steady. And if your elbow or your shoulder, your wrist don't allow for this kind of movement, just do the best you can. If your palm doesn't get anywhere near your face, that's okay. It's really about your intention and where you think that might go. And how about just one more time? We come all the way up. We're breathing in and breathing out. Good. And all the way down. Good. Let's kind of shake that out a little bit, and then let both arms hang down by your sides. And notice now if your arms feel more like the same length. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they feel like they're calibrated again. Okay, so just for fun, we're going to do one more little exercise for the arms and shoulders. Again, this is great for the fascia. It's also great for the nerves in your arms, especially the one that comes down into your elbow here. So I'm going to ask you to take your right arm out to the side and bring your first finger and your thumb together. So you've got like that little circle, right? And some of you know where we're going with this. So we're going to have that arm extended. We're going to bring the arm all the way up. You're going to bend your elbow, and this time, I'm going to take my glasses off. This time, instead of putting your hand on your face, you're going to try and make a little eyeglass for yourself. So you're trying to bring the first finger and the thumb, make a little spyglass. Now that's a lot more tricky of a movement for your wrist and your elbow and your shoulder. And we're going to come all the way up, and let's bring that arm all the way down. All right. So let's try this now with the breath. So if you held your breath the last time, let's see if we can start to breathe a little bit. So if you bring the arm out to the side, bring your first finger and your thumb together, come all the way up overhead, stay seated nice and tall. Gonna bend that elbow and then see if you can get your little spyglass there. So your eye right through, your right eye right through that little thumb and forefinger. Breathing in, breathing out. Great, come all the way up and all the way down. Great. We're just going to do that one more time. So I like 3. 3 is always a good number to, if you're curious about how many times you should do something, I like the number 3. So we're going to go all the way up, get that little first finger and thumb together to create that little spyglass. And we're going to bring that right up. Great. Breathe in, breathe out. And then release. Arm comes all the way up, out to the side, and all the way down. Great, let's switch to the other side now. So same thing, we're gonna take the left arm out to the side, first finger and thumb together. So you make your little spyglass, sitting up nice and tall. We're gonna draw that arm all the way up overhead. Bend your elbow, see if you can bring your hand right up, make your little spyglass here. Breathe in, breathe out. So we're holding as we're breathing. Keep that elbow lifted, you guys, so don't let your elbow fall. And then we're going to come all the way up, lift up, 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 and then all the way down. Good. We've got 2 more times to do it on this side. So again, getting the first finger and the thumb together, making that circle. So you got your little spyglass, and we're going to bring that hand up. Breathe in, breathe out. And then come all the way up, out to the side and down. And last time, bringing the arm out to the side. So first finger and thumb together. Draw the arm up. Create your little spyglass. Extend up and all the way down. Beautiful. So let your hands rest on your lap. You can close your eyes if that feels okay. I'm going to take just a couple of breaths. And as you're relaxing into your breath, I'm going to ask you to notice your shoulders and your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your forearms. Notice your fingers. And perhaps there's just a different sense of aliveness now in your limbs, in your upper body. Okay, and then let your eyes open, take your arms way up overhead, give yourself a good stretch. So reach up through the left side, lean a little bit to the right, and then reach out through the right side, lean a little to the left. So we're just gonna go from side to side, almost like you're climbing up a little bit on one side and then climbing up on the other side. You might actually wanna yawn. So sometimes this kind of stretch can make people, make that yawn reflex happen. So if that happens, just let it go. Great. And then we're going to release and relax that, letting the arms come all the way down. Good. Okay, so now what I'm going to ask you to do is scoot your backside over to the right side of your chair so that you're sort of perched on that right side. Make sure you've got a good seat though, so that you don't go falling off your chair. And you can even hold on to the other side. Now with this right leg, we're going to use the heel and the toe of that foot and see if you can walk that leg way out to the side. Oh boy, I can feel that this morning. And we're going to keep breathing as we walk that leg back. So there's lots of movement happening at the ankle. Obviously, you can feel that in your ankle. There's some movement in the knee. There's definitely movement in the hip and that inner thigh. So I can feel a really good stretching through here, through those inner thigh muscles. Those are called your, excuse me, those are called your adductor muscles right in here. Your adductor muscles, think of it, they add your legs together, right? So when you want to add your legs together, you engage your adductor muscles. So we're still breathing. Great. And then let's bring that leg out to the side as far as it will go. Okay. So for some of you, you may be able to get a 90-degree bend in your knee so that your ankle stays directly underneath your knee. Now, I'm a little bit limited here. You can see I don't quite have 90 degrees, and that's okay. I'm doing the best I can here, and you should do the same. So we're gonna just lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide, and then place them down. So you feel your whole foot on the floor. Good. And I'm going to ask you to engage the muscles here in the outer part of your upper leg. So like you're pulling your knee toward the wall behind you, right? So you're pulling your knee. I'm going to point toward you. So pull the knee that way toward the wall behind you. Now, as you do, you're engaging the muscles on the outside of your leg, and you're stretching the muscles here on the inside of your leg. As you're doing that, have your left ankle underneath your left knee. So you can see mine was over here a little bit. And I just kind of moved it so that they're lined up fairly well. They seem to be lined up fairly well. So we're still pulling that knee back and around. And we're going to take the right hand and we're going to place it on the inside of this right knee. And we're just gently going to press that hand into the knee. As we do, we're lengthening through the spine, breathing in and breathing out. So we're sitting up really tall. We're pressing the hand into the knee, and we're also engaging the muscles in the outside of that leg to pull the knee toward the back wall. Breathe in, breathe out. Just a couple more of these breaths here. So you're sitting nice and tall, and you're pressing into your feet. So even this left foot, we're pressing down into that left foot and then engaging the muscles here in the leg. One more inhale and exhale. Okay, and then we're just going to relax the hand. We're going to bend this right elbow. I'm going to place that elbow and forearm down onto that right thigh. Now you'll notice when you lean over to the right, sometimes the tendency is to just kind of collapse into the side and all the muscles here just let go. We're going to try and keep the spinal muscles really active and engaged throughout this whole thing. And we're leaning over as if we're leaning up and over a ball, right? So I'm nice and strong here in my arm. I'm strong in my shoulder. And I'm just going to let my right hand sort of relax a little bit and then extend the fingers. All right, so it's like I've got my palm out. I'm waiting for something here. I'm going to take my left hand. I'm going to place my left hand on my left shoulder and lift my left elbow as high as I can. Okay. So you're still pressing into your right foot, your left foot. You're still pulling your right knee toward the wall behind you. You're leaning into this right elbow and forearm. So the weight of your upper body is here. And as you breathe in, draw your left elbow back. It's like you're kind of pulling back on a bow. And then as you exhale, we're going to come forward and bring your elbow down toward the palm of your hand, right? So it's like you're trying to put the elbow into the palm of your hand, and maybe you can. So as you inhale, you're coming back. And as you exhale, you're going to come forward and see if you can bring your elbow right down into the palm of your hand. So the palm of your hand is up, your fingers are active, your palm is active, right? You're breathing in and breathing out. You're keeping your spine nice and long and lengthened, right? So slow, gentle movement. Okay. And we're going to finish with that elbow lifted. So we're really open here through the chest. And then relax your left hand, bring it down to your left knee. So don't sit up quite yet. So you want to have that hand on the knee. And instead of just coming up from the side, we're going to shift forward. So bring your weight forward, come over into that left side, and then press into your left hand and come up, right? So that way you're not coming up from a side bending position this way, you're actually coming forward. There's a little rotation in your spine, and we're using those much stronger muscles that go right down the middle of your back to kind of pull yourself back up. Okay, so let's take this right leg, and we're going to use the heel and the toes, and we're going to walk that leg back. And as you're walking that leg back, scoot your backside to the center of your chair for a moment. And let's see if we can extend the legs. Now, I'm not going to be able to do exactly what you can, but if you can extend both your legs and point your toes, see if one leg is longer than the other. Hopefully your right leg. If you do have something a little longer, hopefully it's your right side that's a little longer than your left side. So we opened up a little bit through the hip here. Okay. So now you're going to scoot your backside over to the left side of your chair. So you're kind of on the edge of your chair. Your right foot is going to stay kind of right in the center here. And we're going to use the left heel and toes, and we're going to walk that foot out and go back as far as you can and come in. So breathe in, breathe out. Notice all the movement at your ankle, in the lower leg. Notice the movement in your knee, in your hip, in your upper leg. Okay, and this next time that we bring the foot out to the side, out to the left, we're gonna hold it there. Okay, now once again, you might notice that on this side, you're able to get your ankle underneath your knee, so you have that 90 degrees there. Maybe you were able to do it on the other side, but not on this side. So, you know, we're all a little bit different there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift the toes, spread them nice and wide, and then lower them back down. Good. And once again, this right leg, now your knee and your ankle are kind of lined up. So it's almost like we've got a 90 degrees from the right knee to the left knee. So kind of culminating here in the center of the body. And then we're going to take that left hand and place it on the inside of the left knee. Give it a really gentle push. Now, as you do, you're going to engage the muscles here in the outside of your left leg, like you're trying to pull your knee toward the wall behind you. So for you guys, it's in that direction. So you're trying to pull your knee toward the wall behind you, and you're also very gently pressing into this and lifting and lengthening through the spine. Breathing in and breathing out. Great. Couple more really gentle breaths here. All right, and then we're going to relax that, and then we're going to bend this elbow and bring the elbow and forearm down onto that left side. So here we are once again. So you don't want to just lean into it and kind of collapse through that left side of your body. You want to maintain this nice tall spine as you come over into that left side. So you're really actively sitting here. Turn the palm of your left hand up. It's like you're holding a little tray or a little saucer there. I'm going to take the right hand now and place your right hand on your right shoulder if you can. And lift that elbow as high as it'll go. For some folks, you're going to be able to lift it quite high. For others, maybe not so high, and that's all right. And also notice the difference, this side and the other side, right? So we're going to inhale as we bring that elbow back. So we're opening up through the body. And then as you come forward, you might exhale and see if you can bring your elbow down into the palm of your hand. Now, don't let your hand reach up to your elbow. Your hand is staying right where it is. As you inhale, we're going to open through the chest And as you exhale, we're bringing that elbow down into the palm. So your elbow is reaching for your palm and your palm is saying, yeah, I'm not really interested in that elbow. I don't really care. So this is a great way to kind of twist the spine a little bit, get that shoulder moving a little bit more. The legs are working too, right? So you're still pressing into your feet and you're pulling that knee back toward the wall behind you. We're going to do this just one more time all the way through. So really open and expand, and then come down and place that elbow on the hand. And now we're going to finish by opening up through the shoulder, right? So we're really rotating that shoulder back. And now we're going to relax the right hand and bring that arm rather, and bring the hand down onto the thigh. So once again, don't sit up from the side. What we're going to do is we're going to shift the weight forward, come into that right hand, press into the right hand, and come all the way back up. Wonderful. And now we're going to use the heel and the toes and walk that foot back. And let's come back to the center of the chair. So here we are in the center of the chair once again. I'm going to ask you to bring your feet a little bit wider, say maybe 18 to 24 inches between your feet, if that works for you. And you want to have your hands on your thighs. I talked about this last week about hinging forward from your hips. So let's do this. So remember we did that little thing where I had you check the saddle of your hands right into the creases of your hips. I'm going to ask you to do that again, but on both sides. So right here, where my hands are, where your hands are now as well, that's where you want to feel the movement. So let me just show you what I mean. If I come forward, I'm going to kind of pinch my hands in between my hip bones and my thighs when I come forward. If I don't feel that little pinching, that means that I'm kind of rounding through my back. So you can see that I don't want to round through the back. I actually want to keep the back really tall and straight. And then as you exhale or inhale, completely up to you, come as far forward as you can. Now, some people are going to come really far forward and they're going to say, wow, if my hands weren't there, I could go even farther. And some people are going to say, well, I'm just going a little bit forward, and that's okay too. So whatever works for you. So this is flexion. This is forward bending or flexion at the hips, not in the spine. It's flexion at the hips. So we're doing some movement here for the hips, right? Okay, just one more time in that forward bending, that flexion at the hips. Great. Excellent. And then release your hands. Let's squeeze them out a little bit. I don't know about you, but my hands got a little pinched in there. So now we're going to take the hands and place them in the at your sacrum, which is down below your low back. So I'm going to see if I can show you where that is. It's right about here. It's kind of a big flat bone that sits, it's at the bottom of your spine and it sits between your two hip bones there. So with your hands resting there, if that's comfortable, or even a little farther out to the side, if you can't get them back, I'm going to have you squeeze your shoulder blades together and imagine touching your elbows behind your back. So see if you can get your elbows together back there. As you do that, bring your chest forward so you can feel your back kind of arching a little bit, and then relax your arms, but keep your hands on your sacrum. So we're going to squeeze the elbows, get them back there, squeeze the shoulder blades rather, get the elbows together, and then relax. And let's keep doing that. So breathe in and breathe out. Doesn't matter when you inhale and exhale. You might imagine your elbows, your arms and elbows, kind of like butterfly wings, right? So you ever notice when a butterfly is sitting on a flower, it does this really slow movement with its wings. So that's kind of what we're doing now, is this really slow movement. And this is getting access to some things that, again, if you think about your daily life, the movements that you make, you might not get this kind of access in your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your chest, your back. So one more time, let's squeeze those shoulder blades together, bring the elbows, see if you can touch the elbows back there. Let's take a deep breath in and let it out with a sigh as we relax the arms and let the hands come back to the lap. Ah. Ah. So taking a moment just to feel your shoulders and your arms, your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your back, your chest. And then make yourself comfortable. So everybody's hopefully been sitting up near the front of the chair. If you want to sit back into your chair a little bit, maybe if you've got a nice comfortable back on the chair, you can do that. We're going to spend a few minutes here with a little bit of meditation. So once you're comfortably seated, you can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, you can do that too. If you keep your eyes open though, try not to look around or be distracted by anything going on in your space. You just want to really focus your attention and direct it to your breathing. Notice the way air is moving in and out of your body. Notice if you have a different awareness of your breath right now. Is it shallow or deep? Is it fast or slow? Notice the temperature of the air as you breathe in and breathe out. And then begin to purposefully slow your breathing down. Don't worry about counting or anything like that. Just see if you can make it a little bit slower. With each inhalation and exhalation, you're just going a little bit slower. And as you slow your breath down, relax the tension in your shoulders, your chest, your ribs, your belly. So that as you inhale, you feel your belly and your rib cage and your shoulder tops expand. And as you exhale, you feel your belly and your rib cage and your shoulder tops gently contract. Inhale, expanding belly, rib cage, and shoulder tops. Exhale, relaxing belly, rib cage, and shoulder tops. Continuing with this breathing exercise. Notice, explore any other places in your body that are feeling tense. Oftentimes we'll hold tension in places in the body and we're not even aware of it, like your hands. Maybe you've got a hand that's clenched, or maybe you've got toes that are kind of scrunched, or perhaps your upper teeth and your lower teeth have gotten back together again. Maybe you can create a little space between those upper teeth and lower teeth. So this breathing practice is an opportunity to move into a present moment where you control the flow of air in and out of your body. You're in charge. The slower you can make your breath, the more relaxed your body is going to be. Slowed breathing is a signal to the brain that all is well in your environment. Fast breathing, on the other hand, that gears us up. That tells the brain there's something going on. I need to be on high alert here to take care of something. So pay attention. So simply changing the rhythm of your breath can literally change your mind. As you're watching the air move in and out of your body, as you're slowing the breath down, you might notice that the mind continues to have its little activity there. So thoughts might be coming in and out. And you can notice them. The goal is not to get rid of thoughts completely. It's just to observe your thoughts, notice that they're there, but continue on with your breathing anyway. So the thought patterns are not interrupting the flow of your breath. The thoughts as they come in and out are not changing your attention at all. Your attention stays focused on your breathing. Long, slow, deep breaths in and out. This is a really effective breathing practice to do if you're having difficulty sleeping, if you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed. It's just a good way to unwind. And it reminds us that we do have control over some things. And those things are all internal. I don't have control over anything in my environment. I might think I do, but I really don't. I have control over how I respond to things that happen in my environment. And by changing my breathing, I'm changing my mind's ability to respond to those things. I'm more likely to give a considered response rather than simply reacting to something. Reactions are like lashing out. Responses are more thoughtful. I always feel better when I've responded well to something. I always feel a little badly if I've reacted to something. Breathing in and breathing out, again, just investigating any of those places where you might be holding some tension. We like to squirrel it away. We're good at that. Let's take one more deep breath together and let it out with a sigh. If you want to take your right hand to the center of your chest, right near your heart, and then take your left hand and cover your right, just kind of holding the hands there. Breathe into your hands. So see if you can feel your chest rising and falling as you inhale and exhale. And then take your palms together, like in an expression of gratitude, maybe with the palms fully together and the fingers extended, or with the fingers kind of curled into one another or interlaced. And just take a moment to think about one thing in your life right now that you can be grateful for. And it might be something very small, like warm socks. And who knew we'd need warm socks on May 12th, but we do. Or maybe it's something really big, like your health, the health of a loved one. And once you've gotten that one thing that you have in your mind that you're feeling grateful for, kind of plant that seed so that throughout the day, you can return to that one thought, especially if something starts to upset you, you start to get a little bit off balance. See if you can remember throughout the day today this one thing that you're grateful for. Gratitude practice is very powerful, especially when we can use it kind of to anchor ourselves for the day. And then if you'd like, you can open your eyes if they've been closed, release your hands. And I just thank you all for being with me today, and I hope to see you again soon.